Hey y'all, welcome to Become Your Own Favorite Chef. I'm Amy. Before I even tell you what we're making today, I need to give a little bit of backstory. I've always thought that I hated pork chops. Every time I ate a pork chop, it was rough or tough to chew. The flavor wasn't fantastic. Usually I had them grilled. And I'm not talking about like somebody who didn't know how to cook. I'm talking about I've gotten pork chops at nice restaurants and just was never impressed. So I just thought, yeah, give me the bacon part of the pig, I don't want the pork chop. Until my mother-in-law gave me some pork chops. I thought, well, I guess, if I'm going to make them and eat them, might as well make them the way I like them. So I fried them up the way I like to fry up some chicken breasts. And holy cow, they were the best thing. They were way better than chicken. And I decided, okay, I guess I've just been eating pork chops the wrong way. Now I love them. So I'm going to teach you my method today for fried pork chops. So first thing you need are pork chops. I just got two here, one for me, one for Drew. What I did this morning was I took them out of their container and I put them in a little dish with Italian dressing in it. And when I did that, I made sure there's a little bit on the bottom, put the pork chop in, put a little bit more Italian dressing on it, and just layered it on so that the pork chops get covered in that Italian dressing. The Italian dressing is very acidic, but it's full of garlic and herbs and great flavor. And you want something acidic when you're marinating meat, especially meat like pork chops. The marinade with acid breaks down and tenderizes that meat and makes it very succulent and juicy and very tender when you eat it. And then the Italian dressing flavors just give it this amazing flavor. So we're not going to have to flavor it too much in our cooking process. When you are marinating your pork chops, timing is everything. You want to marinate them long enough that they have time to tenderize, but if you marinate them too long, it starts giving you the reverse reaction and your meat starts becoming very, very tough. So I suggest 6 to 8 hours of marinade. A little more, a little less is not going to hurt anything, but soaking them overnight or the day while you're at work is perfect, and that's what I've done today. So here's what I've got here. You need 1 cup of flour. I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper here, maybe 1/4 teaspoon, nothing crazy, but just to give a little flavor. Same thing with salt, maybe 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I've got, in the next part of my assembly line, I've got 1 egg beaten with 1/4 cup of milk added. Now if you like spice, this is a great secret. I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon of ground red pepper. You could use cayenne pepper as well, but that's a little hotter, so maybe just use 1/4 teaspoon. And I'm just going to add that in there. This is going to give it a perfect amount of heat. Not that you want these to be too spicy, but just gives it a little kick. Definitely different than any other pork chops I've ever had. Stir all that up good. Then, the last part of our assembly line, I have 1/2 cup of panko breadcrumbs with 1/2 cup of dried Italian breadcrumbs, which again have herbs and lots of flavor. But I like mine to be super flavorful, so if you don't mind the flavor of granulated garlic, add about 1/2 teaspoon of that as well, and give that a mix. So let me stir up our flour. And then we'll stir up this mix here. All you have to do for this is bring them down the assembly line and then fry them up in oil. It's so fast and easy. So let's assemble. I'm hungry. I want you to kind of wipe off excess marinade when you're doing this. You don't want tons of that Italian dressing left over. By this point, it's been in there marinating for a few hours. It's done its job. Also, I don't think I mentioned, I like my bone in my pork chops. The bone is going to give it an amazing flavor. It's actually going to help keep it tender, so get the ones with the bone. First things first, we're going to put it in the flour. Just give it a little shake. We want to coat it so it keeps all the moisture in, but then shake it off. You don't want to make it too thick. You want it to fry up crispy. Next step, dip it in your milk and egg mixture. This is going to give the panko and the Italian breadcrumbs something to stick to. And then dip them in the last thing and give it a shake as well. Flip it over. I like to make sure that it's evenly coated. So if you want to press it down a little bit, you know, play with your food, it's okay. I like a good crust on my pork chops. And that's it. We are ready to fry this one. I'm going to do the other one and then I'll show you how to cook them. So to fry your pork chops, you want to use either vegetable oil, canola oil, peanut oil, any kind of oil that's good for frying is great. I've got about an inch of oil in my pan, so depending on how big your pan is, depends on how much oil you'll need. And I've heated this up on medium heat for about 10 minutes. I want my oil to be really hot so that when we put our pork chops in, it sears the outside crust and makes it crunchy. But I don't want it to be so hot that it doesn't cook through. It's very important to cook your pork all the way through. I think it's ready. A good test is sticking a wooden spoon in. If it slightly bubbles, oh yeah, it's ready. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my chops. And you can hear that sizzle, you know it's perfect. I'm going to let these sit without bugging them for at least 4 minutes. But once they're golden brown, then I know to flip them over. Okay, it's been about 4 minutes, and we'll check to see if these are ready to flip. Oh my goodness. Yes, they are. Do you see how brown and perfect they are? That's exactly what we're looking for. Flip this other one over. Oh my goodness, if you could smell this. It smells amazing. So another 4 minutes on the other side, and we'll be ready to eat. Okay, it's been about another 4 minutes, so I'm going to take these off, but they're done. With the other side, oh, perfection. Absolutely. Look how delicious that looks. I'm going to let these sit for about 5 minutes off to the side so that their juices redistribute and they're totally juicy, and then we'll dig in. Is that not the prettiest pork chop you've ever seen? So let's dig on in. Show you what it looks like on the inside. Ooh, I got a little bit of bone. Perfectly tender and juicy. Do you see that? See how juicy that is? I think I got too big a bite. Let's taste. Mmm. Mmm. Wow. Tastes like pork chops. So I didn't overpower it, but I can taste the garlic. It's a little herby from that marinade. It's so juicy. It's so tender. This is absolutely the juiciest, most wonderful pork chop I've ever tried. And this is why I love them. So make pork chops like this, and you'll love them too. Hope you enjoy.